It's about 3 o'clock here at Site B. It is I, the OGGM, coming to you on this lovely winter afternoon, 81 degrees. This is weird because usually about this time we will have the list of tabletop role-playing game of 2025 and the most anticipated tabletop role-playing games of 2025, or at least some hints. But yeah, we don't. I'm really sort of on like what is coming out in 2025. Daggerheart. Yeah. Anything else? Now, there are some ones that we thought were going to come out that didn't come out. The Brandon Sanderson thing isn't out yet. The Gloomhaven thing isn't out yet. I don't think the Assassin's Creed thing is out yet. I'm pretty sure the Diablo thing isn't out yet. Or if they're out, I haven't seen them. So I'm just sort of prowling through the interweb here, seeing what people are excited about. A lot of excitement over 13th Age 2nd edition. Who here remembers 13th Age? So 13th Age was a 4th edition spin-off, one of the few that was able to make a 4th edition adjacent type system. Most people who have seen it consider it better than 4th E. It's like, oh, here's 4th edition if it didn't suck. And it did have some great ideas in it. And then it just kind of faded away. And then there was a hint of an announcement that it was coming back, and it hasn't come back yet. So it's still on the list. Adventure Conqueror King, 2nd edition. We know my personal adventure with that. That's anticipated for 2025. That was the game that got me kicked out of the old school. 13th Age. Blood and Doom. Blood and Doom, which is from Dice Tale Games, which is another sword and sorcery type retro clone thingy. That's listed as anticipated for 2025. Another one talking about 13th Age. A lot of ones talking about 13th Age. Terror of the Underdeep. That's not an adventure. It's not a game that's an adventure, but it's a gigantic 5e adventure that's coming out from Goodman Games. I think it's a mega dungeon. Advantage 5e, which is, I guess, something Goodman Games is doing to add new stuff to 5th edition, but it's not a new game. But okay, another one for 13th Age, Daggerheart, The Between, from Jason Cordova. Looks like Jason Cordova is doing it. So this is The Between. It's a Monster Hunters in Victoria era London type game based upon Penny Dreadful. There's a horror TV show that I'm probably one of only 3 people ever saw. Shadowdark, the 2024 product of the year. I know Kelsey's got stuff coming out in 2025, Solo Dark and some adventures, but I don't know. Land of Erm, the Land of M, E-E-M. Well, I don't know anything about this. It's Lord of the Rings Meet the Muppets. Okay, so just another cozy whatever. And MCDM Draw Steel. I thought Draw Steel was a Kickstarter benefit. Like, if we get this many pledges, I'll open up this thing. And then I saw Matt Coville doing this little thing with something called Draw Steel. And it was like a 20-page printout. And I was like, oh, that's like a minor thing that he came out if you supported the game, right? But no, that's the entire game. Even though it's not ready yet. But yeah. So it'd be interesting to see where that goes because it's a lot smaller than I thought. Another nomination for Adventure Conqueror King. Another nomination for the DCC stuff. Again, it's not a new game. It's stuff for an existing game. I got another nomination for Vagabond. I think it's the first time I've heard this. Vagabond is a pulp fantasy RPG that got kickstarted. And it's from Land of the Blind. We've got one for something called Further by Rob Zeno. No information. Starlight Archive. The Laundry second edition. I think the Laundry already came out, didn't it? Laundry second edition, based upon the Laundry Files by Charles Stross. No relation. That was kickstarted a while back, so I guess we're expecting that to come out. That's another X-Files, modern day weirdness, what's beyond the veil type game. DC 20, pretty sure it's already out. Cold City Hot War from Handiwork Games. Something about Berlin. So a fantasy alternate take on World War III, maybe? No, the Cold War. So, Kohos Cthulhu, Nimble 5e, Draw Steel, Caves of Cthulhu, second edition, and Broken Empires. Does Nimble 5e count as a new game? Or just expansion to 5e? Another nominee for Draw Steel. Another nominee for Kohos Cthulhu. Another nomination for Daggerheart and 13th Age. Ars Magica Definitive Edition, the greatest role-playing game most people have never heard of. Yes, definitely excited to see that come back. Another one for Daggerheart. Broken Empire by Trevor Duvall. It is, wasn't this a 5e thing? Dramatic fantasy. Oh, yeah, this is the one that said it was a sim-like role-playing game and then released like a 5,000-page book. I remember them talking about this. I think these guys were interviewed by Black Lodge Games. So, yeah, I think there's some excitement about that. DC 20, 5 Evil by Handiwork Games. 5 Evil. What is that? 5 Evil is fiendish 5e horror. So it's using 5e to run horror. Shadowdark, it's already out. Nimble and Slay the Spire. Slay the Spire is already out. Coriolis, the reversion of Coriolis from Free League. Yeah, that's coming out, I think. Conan the Hyborian Age from Monolith Board Games. Coriolis from Free League. Another one from 13th Age. Mythic Bastionland. I think it's more of a setting than a game, but okay. Draw Steel. Weird Heroes of Public Access. Weird. Okay, so this is a role-playing game based upon public access characters from, like Elvira. I don't know how you play a adventure about public access television. I did a public access television show. Who remembers that? Fistful of Fingers, me and Don Crandall. Simple D6 Pool. So is this like it came from the late shows? And who remembers that game? Ashes Without Numbers from Kevin Crawford. That's Kevin Crawford's post-apocalypse game. I'm definitely excited about that. Another Coriolis, Curseborn. Curseborn is... What is this? It looks like a modern-day horror game. Looks very much kind of like World of Darkness. You play sort of powered-down version. Yeah, it looks like a knockoff of World of Darkness and Monster of the Week. Another one for Trial of Cthulhu. There's a Wizard of Oz role-playing game coming out called The Lost Chronicles of Oz by Everett Nicole. The Stormlight Archive. Daggerheart. Outgunned Adventures by Two Little Mice. Born from Ice and Stone. Stone Age role-playing game by Small Cog Creative. Born from Ice. Barbarians of Lemur. So You've Met a 1,000-Year-Old Vampire. Vampire. Born from Ice, Stone Age role-playing. Ashes Without Number. Kohos Cthulhu. And that's, and pretty much just wash, rinse, repeat. The most anticipated role-playing games seem to be a good hot 5, and then some other bits and pieces of other ones. I thought the list would be bigger. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that there's not many. I mean, it's obviously harder to print stuff every year, especially to get stuff out into the general public. If you're just looking to do small press like I do, and vanity press, but if you really want to be the next Shadowdark or whatever, that's a lot of hard work and a lot of money and a lot of slogging with very little, guarantee that anything's going to happen of it. So with everything in the way the world's going, I don't know if I'm surprised that it's not as many as I would thought. And it's just sort of scattered about, but it does feel like there's a lot of excitement over very few games. My concern is people are going to be disappointed with Draw Steel. It already feels kind of disappointing, especially with Matt Colville suddenly jumping back on the 5th edition bandwagon. It kind of feels like he's sort of losing faith in it, or maybe he just feels he needs a steady income until Draw Steel is ready to go as a full-fledged RPG. Ashes Without Number and Adventure at Conqueror King, very much excited about that. Same with Daggerheart. Daggerheart was what we would call, the Great White Hope in boxing. We're putting a lot of money and time and energy and excitement on what this game might do, but we're betting all on the fact that the fan base will stay loyal to Critical Role next year with whatever they do with Daggerheart. So as of the latest, if you're not following the never-ending Critical Role Daggerheart soap opera, we can talk about that in a separate video. It sounds like Matt gave out a lot of hints about the future of Campaign 3 and the future of Daggerheart. And a lot of people are speculating based upon what he'd said to come up with things like, well, he said X, so therefore Y. Now, I've gone over and over and over and over as to my theory of what I think they should do with Campaign 4 and Daggerheart. I have no inside information. So, yeah, again, there's just a lot of like, okay, what happens when this finally drops? Is it going to be the biggest thing since sliced bread? Or is it going to be another game that just sits on the shelf and gathers dust? Same with the Brandon Sanderson thing. I mean, Stephen Glicker has said good things about it, but other than that, is it just going to be another like, okay, yeah. And then we've got another couple, just little weird ones on there. But it seems the two biggies are Adventure Conqueror's King, Daggerheart, Draw Steel, a couple others on the list. I don't know what I'm excited about. Doesn't look like there's any superhero role-playing games coming out. A lot of Cthulhu stuff, and more actually a lot of excitement over one Cthulhu game. But it's a weird list. As for 2024 tabletop role-playing game of the year, the one that's going to walk away at the end of the year being the king, the game that people were most excited about that wasn't Dungeons and Dragons, it's probably going to be Shadowdark. I mean, it won all the awards. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be. It reset the entire industry. So, yeah. I mean, you notice even though 6E's out and we're 2 books into 6E, no one's really talking about 6E other than me and Stephen Glicker and a few and Wizards of the Coast fan base. But there's not that, that constant level of excitement that was around 6E, that was around 5E 2 years ago. If we were in the news, people were talking about D&D all the time. Dungeons and Dragons came up in everyday conversations. My parents even asked me about what's going on with D&D. It was it was normal everyday conversation. Boiler room, water cooler conversation. And now 2 years later, with a 6th edition out, with the 50th edition out, you would think, oh, that's the most anticipated role-playing game of 2024. That's right. But no one's really talking about it, which is, I guess, kind of weird, kind of expected, kind of sad. I don't know. Whatever. what was your 2024 tabletop game of the year? And of all the games that actually came out in 2024, what was the one that just won your heart this year? And what are you excited about next year, if anything? I mean, obviously, I want you to be excited about the stuff I'm going to put out next year. I don't see anybody going, my most anticipated 2025 games is whatever OG GM's going to do with Wretched Vigilantes now that it's back in his hands. No, I don't see anybody talking about that. But yeah. So I don't know what I'm excited about. You know, if there was like a new superhero game out, maybe the new DC I'd be excited about. But there's nothing like, I don't see anything on the list that makes me want to go, yeah, I want to kickstart that yet. So we'll see. But right now, the weird thing is, of course, is that the lists aren't out yet. Usually we're almost at the 20th day. The year's almost over. We got 7 days to Christmas. All these nominees and, you know, winners and polls should be done by now. And we don't have any. Maybe they'll come out on Friday. I don't know.